to 72 of the Blade Job. Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan. I am your host with the most, and it's just me. I'm just doing this by myself. I forgot to start my timer, as usual. I feel like that's part of the show these days. I just forget to start my timer. Follow us on Twitter at The Blade Job Show. Get us wherever you find your podcasts, whether it be Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube. You can listen to it on YouTube. We put it up in video format just so you can listen to it, even if you don't have access to podcasting apps at the time. Plus, you can like and subscribe and share from there as well, and you can see episodes of Gigging It in their own separate fancy playlist, which we did have a new one, but sometimes things don't work out, and technology wants to be shit. So we don't, but we will soon. And don't forget to go over to powerslam.tv, get your 30 days free with the code BLADEJOB. Watch a lot of cool pro wrestling on there. They got bar wrestling. Joey Ryan, he chose independent. So why don't you watch him be independent on powerslam.tv with code BLADEJOB for a free 30 days. I've learned how to do my marketing from Chris Jericho because he loved to say, hey, John Moxley, I know you have something important to say, but before you do that, check out Omaha Steaks, and then talk about Omaha Steaks for friggin' 15 minutes. But I do love steak, but I really wanted to hear what John Moxley had to say. I haven't finished that interview yet, but I thought he had a lot of interesting things to say. And if you haven't checked that out, check out John Moxley on Talk is Jericho, because I'm just plugging everybody today. I'm going to plug someone later, too. So stay tuned for that. So last night we had TakeOver 25, the 25th TakeOver from the B team, from developmental, from whatever you wanted to call them, whatever Vince wanted to think that they were. And TakeOver 25 was fantastic. There will be full spoilers for TakeOver 25. So if you don't want to hear those, I don't know, either skip ahead or please don't stop listening though, because I need this job. It pays so much, and I need a new yacht. So just keep listening. TakeOver 25, we finally had something that I feel like a lot of people wanted, and that was Adam Cole becoming the NXT champion, defeating Gargano in what was close to a 40-minute match. And I mean, even if you knew what happened, you're like, okay, I know what happened, I'm not going to watch it. It was a hell of a match. I made the comment last night that based on his track record, based on the TakeOver matches he's had, based on the NXT television matches he's had, overall, within the microcosm of NXT, I think Johnny Gargano can officially be described as the greatest performer in NXT history. He has done so much. He has put on the best matches in the promotion. This guy's just on fire. I mean, his series with Ciampa was brilliant. His matches with Cole have been brilliant. I mean, this guy just, he's on fire. Un fuego, as Morrow would say. And yeah, I'm happy that Adam Cole is now champion, but I'm gonna miss Gargano as champion because he's just kind of, he's likable. But I mean, Cole is probably his equal when it comes to putting on matches that just make you go, holy shit. Excuse me. And Cole is champion. He's going to make a hell of a heel champion, even though it's hard to really say that he's heel at this point. He's heel in character, but he's definitely not heel with the crowd. It was definitely a huge discrepancy between the Johnny Wrestling and Adam Cole chants. But I'm happy that Cole's champion now. Vacant NXT tag team titles we had defended between Street Profits, Forgotten Sons, Oney Larkin and Danny Burch, and the Undisputed Era, of course, in a fatal 4-way ladder match, which, I mean, if you've ever seen a ladder match in NXT, you know how crazy that was in the first place, and then you put 8 dudes in there. I mean, it was Kyle O'Reilly, he's at a chiropractor today. There's no way he's not at a chiropractor today, getting things checked out. Maybe at a local medical center, as they'd like to say. One hell of a ladder match, and Street Profits finally taking home the gold. Well deserved. I mean, they do a really fantastic job week in and week out, and they've really built their characters from kind of like, I don't want to say jobbers, but like your basic entry level tag team to being one of the upper echelon of NXT's tag team division. Really good for them. I'm happy for them. Fantastic match. We had Io Shirai and Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. Another good match. Shayna has really grown on me. I know Shayna has grown on a lot of people. She doesn't, for a long time, she just seemed like your cookie cutter MMA chick heel, and it wasn't anything super interesting, but she's slowly, she grew on me. I think, when I really kind of decided that I was a big fan of hers, when NXT came to Lowell in Massachusetts for a house show, she faced Candice LeRae, and it was a good match. It was just a good match, and it was a house show match, and they still tore the house down. I was really happy to see that. She's getting good, like she found her stride. And I'm still a little upset that we're kind of like hanging on this idea that we've got her two friends that nobody seems to really care about. But she denied them coming to the ring. They made her entrance as far as Gorilla, and then she said, "Nah, I'm good." And she came to the ring alone to face Io Shirai. Good match, really entertaining. I enjoyed it. Opening contest: Matt Riddle and Roderick Strong. Slow start, but overall great match between the two. There were some great back and forth spots that I was big fan of. Big fan of Riddle, big fan of Strong. So, fun to see. And then we had Velveteen Dream versus gorgeous Tyler Breeze for the North American Championship. Tyler Breeze returning to NXT officially and did not disappoint. Little nervous at one point when Breeze is laying in the mat and he has blood dripping out of his ear. But they put on a hell of a match. A really great match. I've always been a Tyler Breeze fan, and I was actually a big fan of the Fashion Police. I think they should have had a lengthy tag title run, but they were used as a comedy act. They were used as backstage segments. They weren't really utilized in ring, and I don't understand that. I don't understand what Vince did not understand about how good both Tyler Breeze and Fandango really are. Obviously now with Dango out with an injury, double knee surgery, single knee surgery, I don't know, he's out, but I hope when he comes back, I'm kind of hoping they send him back down to NXT to repartner with Tyler Breeze, maybe even rebrand him back to Johnny Curtis, let him kind of get away from the comedy gimmick, see what he can do solo or in a tag team with Tyler Breeze. I don't know, NXT TakeOver 25, absolutely fantastic. And that leads to a terrible transitioning over to something that was brought up not too long ago, maybe about 20 minutes ago on Twitter. And it was something that our buddy Will from 123 Pins brought up. First and foremost, go check him out. You can follow him on Twitter at 123pins. That's the numbers 123 and pins. He makes fantastic lapel enamel pin designs. Go check him out for all your pins needs. And yeah, but anyways, what he brought up, if I could just make sure I'm quoting everything properly, because that's the kind of person I am. I always do my fucking research. He boasted earlier, people are making a big deal about Britt Baker watching Adam Cole. And it led me to think, I mean, well, of course she's watching Adam Cole. They're in a relationship together. So why wouldn't she watch him wrestle at TakeOver? Are you honestly to tell me that Cole didn't watch Double or Nothing? Are you telling me that Deonna Purrazzo doesn't watch Ring of Honor? Spoiler alert, if you didn't know, she's dating Marty Scurll. These are people. Like, I know you like to look at them. I'm not saying you in general. I'm just saying you generally. They're just people, and they're doing a job, and they have a real life outside of their character. And I think that we as fans need to understand that they have a life outside of what we see on television. And you got to think the only person who really understands the plight and the life of a professional wrestler is another professional wrestler. And it stands to reason that most of the time, romantically, professional wrestlers are going to get involved with other professional wrestlers. Jordan Grace and Jonathan Gresham, Britt Baker and Adam Cole, Marty Scurll, Deonna Purrazzo, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch. It stands to reason that if you're traveling with these people and you meet these people at shows and you're constantly seeing each other and you both kind of know what your lives are, wouldn't you want to date someone who kind of understood the crap that you go through on a day-to-day basis? I mean, they're just regular people. It's not news when you hear the NXT performer is watching Double or Nothing, or when you find out an AEW wrestler is watching NXT. It's not news. It's just their lives. They're supporting people that they care about. It's like, spoiler alert, a lot of these people are probably friends. How many WWE wrestlers did you see congratulate AEW on the success of Double or Nothing? They're not congratulating them as WWE performers. They're congratulating them as wrestling fans, as friends of these performers. I mean, these people have worked together. These people know each other, especially when we had Jericho there. We had Dustin Rhodes. We had Cody Rhodes. We had Jon Moxley. These four people in recent time have worked for WWE. They're probably friends with most of the people who are still in WWE. Of course, those people are going to be happy for them. Why would you think that someone wouldn't be happy for a friend for doing what they love and succeeding at it? It doesn't make sense to me. It's absolutely ridiculous that we would think that it's something more than just support. Just caring about the business, caring about their friends, caring about their loved ones. It's sorry if you're finding anything more than Adam Cole cares deeply about Britt Baker and Britt Baker cares deeply about Adam Cole and she watched and congratulated him on winning the NXT championship. If you're seeing anything more than just that, then you're digging way too deep and you're just trying to find issues where there are none. And that's crazy to me. I think you're insane. I think you need to calm down and you need to get off Twitter and go outside, maybe take a walk, go to the park, see the birds, get a hot dog, and if you don't eat hot dogs, get some French fries, maybe one of those, strawberry cheesecake or strawberry shortcake ice cream bars, those are really good. Maybe a Choco Taco, and just chill and reconsider your life choices because you're being dumb. You're just not being smart. And I don't understand why. I'm also, if you haven't noticed, I need to talk for an hour and I have nobody to bounce ideas off of. So I apologize if I ramble a little bit, but that's just the way it's going to be. If I can make it to an hour. But anyways, so continuing on with discussions revolving around NXT, I had a thought last night, and I texted texted my homeboy Cactus Dan and brought it aloud to trash can himself. And I thought that Vince shouldn't be worried or upset. Maybe upset's a better word. Vince shouldn't be upset about AEW. What he should be upset about is the fact that his son-in-law took his money and created a better promotion. Because I don't care if you are a diehard, lifelong WWE fan, if you hate the product, if it's mediocre to you. I don't care if you love AEW, hate AEW. I don't care if you love NXT, hate NXT, or you just watch New Japan, whatever. NXT is a WWE property. NXT is worlds above the main roster when it comes to professional wrestling. It's a huge separation, even though they use the term in both brands. There's a huge separation between the sports entertainment that is WWE's main roster, Raw, SmackDown, 205, and NXT being professional wrestling. It's more focused on that in-ring, storytelling. Obviously, they still do backstage, but they're able to tell in an hour every week more stories than Raw is in 3. And then they turn it around, and every couple of months they do more good for the business, for the industry, in 2.5 hours of an NXT TakeOver pay-per-view than WWE is able to do in a 5.5 hour standard pay-per-view. Not even a big 4. They've been hitting 4 to 5 hours with their standard pay-per-views because they just throw shit at the wall and hope that it sticks. I see no reason why half of these matches are even on these pay-per-views except for why the hell not? Their next pay-per-view being Blood Money 2, The Reckoning. Nobody cares. I've looked at the card. You know what? I often get bit by the nostalgia bug, and I'll admit, I will watch Undertaker and Goldberg. I will watch it. I will not watch the show live, and I might not watch any other matches on the card unless something comes out that something crazy happened. I really don't have much of an interest. Even Triple H and Orton just doesn't fly for me. I love Triple H. I love Orton. I just don't see a reason of them competing against one another at the Saudi show. I know WWE doesn't like to mention that it's in Saudi Arabia. It's just in Jeddah. It's not in Saudi Arabia. Just Jeddah. But guess what? It's in Saudi Arabia, and there's nothing that you can do, WWE, to avoid the fact that we know where this show is, and we know that at the end of the day, you just don't care where it is because the money was too good and blah, blah, blah. There's probably contracts involved, and I know that it's not as simple as just pulling out. Like, sometimes you just gotta, grit your teeth and deal with the hand you were dealt when it comes to, what's going on in this country and also what your contract states of you. But, I mean, you don't seem like you care. And what Triple H is doing with NXT, where he's just so focused on that in-ring product, it's excuse me, it's ridiculous. There's such a difference. So between last week watching AEW's debut with Double or Nothing, this weekend watching NXT TakeOver 25, it's been a great week for wrestling. But there's such a split. I don't even know how to say it. There's this part of me that's like, man, this is a fantastic time to be a wrestling fan. There's so much good wrestling coming out. Even WWE can pull out some fantastic matches every now and then when they allow their talent to kind of go out there and do what they do best, which is run matches and tell a story in the ring. But at the same time, there's a lot of division within the community. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of anger. And there's a lot of finger pointing. And it doesn't make sense, man. Like, sometimes I wish we could just sit down, watch wrestling, and then talk about wrestling. And that's it. why does everything have to be a competition? Why does everything have to be them versus them versus us versus them, whatever you want to say? Why does it always have to be that way? Why can't it just be wrestling? I agree. I'm with you. I'm with most of you. WWE has not been on the top of their game lately. If you son of a bitch, son of a whore, phone vibrating, fucking ruining my vibe. We'll get there. Shit, it's gone. No, so it doesn't always have to be who's right and who's wrong. And like I said, WWE's definitely been off their game, but if you have followed WWE for any length of time, then you should know that this is not the first time that they've stumbled. And they've stumbled hard in the past. It's just the way it is. It happens, especially when you have this situation where you have this one omnipotent ruler of them all, because you have creative, you've got the road creative, you've got the creative in Stamford, but it doesn't matter who says what, because at the end of the day, Vince has final say. And based on like the Moxley interview and based on a lot of things that we've seen from a lot of performers, past, present, some people are just afraid to go to Vince and say, hey, I think this is bullshit and I think we should change it. At the end of the day, maybe he says, yeah, let's change it. What do you got? Some days he's probably just going to say, get the hell out of my office. We're doing it this way. But it is what it is, but you have this omnipotent boss who has full control over what we see on television. And I don't think that necessarily is the best way to go. I've seen interviews and I've heard testimonies from people who've worked for NXT and, and Triple H himself, and he has been very open that when a performer has an idea, he encourages them to bring it to him and say, hey, look, I've got this idea. What do you think? And running with it in that way. And I think that's the way it should be. AEW has said that they will not be doing scripted promos. People seem to think that means they're just going to let wrestlers go out there and just say whatever they want and see what happens. Well, no, obviously not. They're going to give them the bullet points. They're going to say, okay, you're feuding with Adam Page and we need you to talk about A, B, and C. Go on out there and do it, because they understand that a lot of these performers, that's all they do. That's all they've been doing for most of their life, is honing their craft, is being able to tell a story in a coherent manner. And sometimes you just gotta, kick them out of the nest and let them spread their wings and fly. And I think that's what WWE isn't getting right now, is they're clipping their wings. If someone can't talk, giving them exactly what they're supposed to say isn't going to make that promo better. In the old days, if someone couldn't talk, but they were a good wrestler, that's why you had managers. That's why you had Bobby the Brain. That's why you had Jimmy Hart. That's why you had Paul Heyman. That's the whole point of having managers, was to be the mouthpiece to someone who wasn't necessarily the best mouthpiece. And I don't understand why we don't do that. Instead, when I say we, I mean WWE, they hand them a script and say, memorize this. That's not going to make anything better. That's just going to make things awkward. And speaking of awkward, I don't know about you, but since we're taking a trip down memory lane, I remember a time when WWE would offer surprise, intrigue, unexpected moments, all the things that came out in that WWE survey the other day that I did not click. I remember when they offered those, and one of the big things, one of the big surprises, was always, when is the Money in the Bank contract holder going to cash in their Money in the Bank? Well, this year, Apparently it's going to be on Monday Night Raw, because they announced it a week in advance when Paul Heyman posted it on Twitter that Brock would be cashing it in on Raw. Now, obviously, this could be a swerve. He doesn't end up cashing it in. They just beat up Rollins and move on with their lives. However, either way, this is not making me tune in to Raw. This is making me check the dirt sheets the day after to see if Brock Lesnar won the title. Because honestly, I don't give a shit. I do not care if Brock Lesnar wins the title or not. The only thing that happens when Brock Lesnar wins the title that I care about is the fact that Seth Rollins is no longer champion. That's all I care about. And sticking with surprises, we also know that this coming Tuesday on SmackDown, for the first time ever, Goldberg will be on SmackDown. Now, I don't know about you, but if they did things like this every now and then, but they didn't tell us about it, I would be much more apt to tune into SmackDown. Letting me know that Goldberg is going to be there is not going to make me watch SmackDown more. But had I found out that Goldberg showed up on SmackDown, I'd be more apt to watch the next week because I wanted to see if there was any unexpected moments. The last big surprise that I can remember was the Hardys coming back at Mania last year. Or was that 2 years ago? Was that 2 years ago? Yeah, Hardys coming back 2 years ago. AJ Styles' debut, which was 3 years ago, maybe longer at this point. I can't remember. It was the Rumble. Shane coming back, which was exciting, but it was kind of like, I don't know. It was slightly pseudo expected. I don't know. I felt like the storyline was saying, "Hey, Shane's coming back," whether we realized it or not. But there have been so many times when someone gets Roman coming back after his leukemia treatment. You did not need to tell us that he was coming. He was going to be on Raw to give us an update on his health. Just have Roman's music hit. Have him come out, spear somebody, grab the mic and say, "Hey, y'all, I'm cancer free, bitches," and move on. Like, why? You're not raising your ratings by spoiling your own show. If you told me what was going to happen at the end of the newest episode of, I don't know, I don't even know what's on TV anymore, 24. I know it's been off the air for like 10 years, but, if you told me in your promo what was happening at the end of the episode, what the big twist was, what's the point of watching? It just, it doesn't make sense. It boggles my mind that we have just all of these wonderful moments in pro wrestling that are spoiled. It'd be like AEW promoting that Jon Moxley was going to be at Double or Nothing. You didn't need to. He wasn't involved in a match. He interfered after the main event. You didn't need anything to do with him being there. He just showed up. Why would you tell us he was coming? Well, why would you tell us that Goldberg's going to be on SmackDown? Why would you tell us that Roman was going to be on Raw? Why would you do these things? The exciting part a lot of the times back in the day was someone's out on injury. And unfortunately, after a while, you kind of forget about him. Every now and then you might go, "Oh, hey, whatever happened to blah, blah, blah? Is he still out?" But then one day there's a match going on, and all of a sudden that person comes out of the crowd, or that person's music hits, and the other person in the ring does the thing where they stare at the Titantron going, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." And the announcers freak out, which don't get me started on how terrible the announcers are with showing any sort of emotion. And there you go. You've got an unexpected, exciting moment, but instead, nope, everything's announced ahead of time, and that's it. It's ridiculous. It's bad television at the end of the day. It's bad storytelling. I don't know. I don't understand what the issue is. I don't know. I feel like even an elderly man can know what would be exciting and what would make good TV. Because he probably, I don't know if he's ever actually seen TV. Now that I think about it, I think the only television that Vince has ever seen is Monday Night Raw. He's never seen anything else. And I don't know. They announced there's going to be another NXT TakeOver in the UK. That was unexpected. So I guess that's kind of a surprise. But once again, NXT knows how to do surprises. They've had their fair share of downfalls. I love when they tend to show their new signees just hanging out in the crowd. No, if you're going to sign someone, you just send them out there and let them attack someone. You know, like when the War Raiders, Viking Experience, War Machine, whatever the fuck they're called these days, when they just came out and started beating the shit out of people. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, they just kind of beating the shit out of people. Adam Cole, just kind of beating the shit out of people. You know, and that's the way it should be. Allow there to be these wonderful moments where you don't know what's coming next. Oh, dear God, I just saw a picture of Kyle O'Reilly after the ladder match last night at NXT TakeOver. He is missing pieces of his skin. If that doesn't make you go watch that ladder match, I do not know what else will. He is literally missing pieces of his body after one hell of a ladder match. Sorry about that, but this is what I do. When I need information, I just slowly go through Twitter while I'm recording and hope something inspires me to talk about something else. That's just the way it is. Like, for example, you ever notice that Will Ospreay wearing sunglasses, aviators, kind of looks like Orange Cassidy? Is that a new tag team? I think it should be. Freshly Cat? Kitty Squeeze? I don't know. Something you could work with. Come on, New Japan. Make it happen. But anyways, at the end of the day, I want to be surprised again, and that's kind of one of the reasons I'm a little more excited about I'm not excited about AEW necessarily. I'm excited about what AEW could be. Because right now we've got one show, and that's it. It was a good show. It very well could be one of the better shows of the year. Will it be the best show? I don't think so. But it's also, we hear this every week, or every month, every year, early on. Oh, this is a contender for match of the year. Well, absolutely. Technically, every match is a contender for match of the year. But just to say, like, you have a match like you had last night with Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, and yeah, that definitely contender for match of the year. But other guys are going to see that, and girls, and they're going to say, I bet we can do better. Like, people are always going to try to one-up each other, and it's not because they're just being, petty. It's because friendly competition. Hey, look what they did. Let's try to do it that much better. And, I don't know. I'm frustrated. But I'm happy that I got to watch 2 really good wrestling shows over the past 7 days. I'm probably gonna watch some old Nitro later, just to cap it off. I want us to sit down, and I want us to really kind of look at each other and realize, just like I kind of started the show with, we're all people, just like these wrestlers are people, and life is life, and we can all have our opinions, but I don't see any reason to be so, I don't know, unfriendly, I think is the best way. And you know, if you're gonna attack a wrestler personally, you better have some shit to back it up, and you better have some actual. I saw a picture of Sasha Banks earlier, where she had a look of disgust on her face, and people were using that photo to say, oh, this is a photo of her at a meet and greet. Look how disgusted she is at her fans. I almost guarantee that's not what was going on. And if it was, she's a shitty human. Once again, I doubt that's what's going on. And people just like to, this is some Fox News shit. Let's cut. Has anyone seen the episode of The Simpsons? Yeah, I'm going there. Anyone seen the episode of The Simpsons where Homer steals the gummy Venus de Mayo, and he's bringing the babysitter home, and she accidentally sits on it, and then he takes the gummy off of her butt, and he's accused of sexual harassment. And then he goes on their version of Hardline or whatever, the hard copy, whatever the fuck it's called, and they cut together the video of his interview to make it sound like what he's really talking about is, I just wanted that sweet candy, talking about the candy, but they changed to her sweet can. Sweet, sweet can. That's what you're doing. You're creating a facade. You're creating a false story based on information that you've pulled out of your ass. And it's not cool. It's not cool to Sasha Banks. It's not cool to AEW. It's not cool to WWE. It's not cool to Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Johnny Gargano. I don't know, whoever you want to be. No, it can't be Johnny Gargano, because Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae are the perfect individuals. They're adorable, and we all know it. You just... a lot of y'all think that you're reporters, that you're journalists. You're not. You're fucking trash. And I don't claim to be a journalist. At the end of the day, I claim to be a comedy writer, a satirical analyst. I don't know. I'm not breaking any fucking news, and I'm not pretending to be. I like talk about stuff. I like making fun of things, because that's what I do. That's who I am as a person. If you take me seriously when I say that, watch this. Here, I'm going to give you a sound clip. Johnny Gargano found having intercourse with a hooker behind a Wendy's in Dayton, Ohio. There's your clip. Take that and do whatever the fuck you want with it. Because it's not true, but now you can pretend it is. And that's what the fuck I have to say about that. Powerslam.tv. Use code BladeJob. Follow us on Twitter @TheBladeJobShow. Fucking enjoy your day, because I just got really feisty and I don't want to keep talking. So, wonderful day. Have it.
Awesome! I came to
Every Wednesday on the Wrestling Perspective Network, RJ and Michael Berry Sr. come to play on the Revisionist Booking. They rebook a wrestling pay-per-view from the past and try to make their cards awesome. Follow them on Twitter @RevisionistBook, @Michael Berry Sr., and go over to iTunes, Stitcher, and blogtalkradio.com/Wrestling Perspective Network and subscribe. Head over to whatforapparel.com/revisionistbook and check out their great apparel as well. And as always, you're welcome, and let the revisionist revolution begin.